airport simulation today. We have our check-in desk. That is our waiting area that goes with the check-in desk. So after you check in with the NISA, you're going to go wait at the waiting area. There are may not be quite enough seats. And then when the stations change, your second station would be the TSA right here. Yeah, TSA right here. You're going to take your shoes off. I know technically there is apparently now a new rule that maybe you don't have to take them off.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
But we're just going to do it today to give you the
struggle.
make you have to do something else besides just walk through a fake line here. So you're going to put your shoes into there and push it down to the end.
Your shoes and your big bags. Your big bags have metal in them.
That's true.
You can't wear them through the.
And if you sometimes you don't have to do this today, but sometimes you might want to take something like a little slip leash like this, or even just get a cheap one from like the Dollar Tree and cut off the clip, and you can just go like this and temporarily have your dog on this, because sometimes TSA, the agents that are there may not know how to correctly do service dogs, and they will try to tell you to take everything off your dog. And so if you don't want to stress, you can always ask to talk to like a supervisor who should know the actual procedures. But if you don't want to, you don't want to stress about that, you could always bring something like this to quickly put a quick little slip leash on your dog just to get through the little security area. So that is something you could do. Okay, so you're going to go through TSA here, take off your shoes, go out. One of us will be there to do the security check. Maybe you have to wand or pat your dog down. And then the third station is over here, and it is our airlines. So if you are sitting in the chairs over there, please make sure there's turned back around and inside that tape when you get up, because we did set them up in a very specific way, hopefully to make them nice and tight for you. And you'll go and have your dog settle in those airline chairs. We are going to divide up. Everybody who has a dog, raise your hands. Okay.
Hello, how are you? Where are you traveling to today? Oh, very fun. So here's your boarding pass. I'm also going to tag your dog, so if you can bring your puppy right over here. Some people tag your dog.
You're just gonna leave it there. All right. Everything looks okay here. Just stay right there, sir.
You can offer to do it, but a lot of them have been just doing it. So awesome! Great. I hope you guys have such safe travels. Thank you. Sit right over in your
Now you jump on the luggage
area.
We're going to go through, and then you're going to recall your dog.
Whether it works or not, it's a different story.
So we're going to come around.
Sit.
Stay.
Awesome.
Stay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
They're on one exit.
Beep, beep, beep. I'm going to have to pat down your dog, ma'am. So you want to put her in a position. You're in a position. Oftentimes we'll try to maybe hold the head. You can do a treat there. You can hold your head a little bit. Oh, you'll have a treat cup. I can hold her head. Just hold her head right here. Yeah. I'm going to pat this dog. I'm going to I'm sorry. Do you have any questions? Somebody brought the back.
Do this again.
Yeah.
The lights are, I've done this so many times, the lights are on the floor. Stay inside of your aisles, because remember that isn't the wall out of the plane. Yes. And it's important to keep your dog secure in your seat in front of you.
yeah, some people don't have
Oh.
We're going to have some fun today talking about duration and letting you apply it. I'm just going to give you a really quick rundown about how we build duration. Amber's going to talk about the why, and then she's going to give you a little demonstration, and then we are going to let you guys get into action working in our mock grocery store. Our little dog eat grocery store here, with lots of tempting things on the shelves. So when we work on duration, our goal is to build it in sit down and stand, plus our other skills. On your Vesta, our benchmark is that 20-second benchmark time frame. And so as we are building duration, our goal is to, generally speaking, we're going to in a varying level. So for example, if you know that your puppy is now upwards of that 20-second mark, we're not going to jump right to that 20 seconds every time when you're working on growth. So that might be you treat the puppy at 10 seconds, treat the puppy at 20 seconds, treat the puppy at 8 seconds, treat the puppy at 11 seconds. It keeps them a little more engaged with us, and we're going to be able to gradually increase that needle every time. Now, when we are building duration, typically our average puppy does a little better with quiet treating, but some puppies do better with marking and rewarding that duration period. That's where our individual learner comes in. So based on what's doing well with your puppy and what you're working on, we want you to keep using it. Armor and I might give you some suggestion points while we're in here today, but we want you to keep building on what you've been doing with your puppy and applying it into the home here.
Yes. And so the theory, like that when we're out working with our dogs, if we ask them to sit or go into a queue, the mindset is they should remain in that position until we give them something else to do, correct? Or until we tell them to break or let's go. So when you're out and about in the public, the grocery store is a really good setting to practice all this because you're doing a lot of walking and then you're stopping. You might look at something, especially all of us take our dogs out to, usually it's Publix for the Florida folks, for little trips up and down the aisles. It gives you good practice and opportunity to ask your puppy to sit and look at things and go ahead and mark and reward, but it's that duration. So everything kind of stems from that duration because it's really hard to do something. If you ask your puppy to sit, you immediately step forward and try to grab something off the shelf, and the puppy gets up and tries to go, with you or check things out with you. So practicing really small and simple, building this duration is going to be a very helpful exercise.
Does anyone have any questions about duration in general or growing duration? Questions about questions? Okay, then we're going to go to Armor with Lionel, give a little demonstration. So today we're going to be working with 3 different stations. So we have our big checkout here. We're going to have a fun volunteer that's behind, being our cashier. We have our self-checkout that's over here. And then we have our grocery store aisles. So this is aisle 1, this is aisle 2. We'll be having 5 dogs working at a time, and then we're going to switch you guys. So if you're one of our dogs sitting on the outskirts during your downtime, you'll be focusing on marking and rewarding your puppy for good decisions. And if you're in one of our stations, we're going to show you what each of those stations look like.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to walk Lionel up and down the aisle.
So she's first just going to focus on impulse control around the aisle. There's lots of tempting things here today, and everything is categorized by how it flows together. So we have our sugar reward, our junk food, our fruits and vegetables, our nice Thanksgiving dinner here. So she's just going to first focus on some marking and rewarding, letting Lionel know what she does want as she's moving through the aisle. And then she's going to pick a space to work on some duration next. So she's going to cue Lionel into a sit cue here. And then she's going to work on just having him hold that sit while she does a little looking. And she's still going to give him his feedback point. Again, we're still chewing.
We're dealing with some cheating issues going on right now. So everything's getting stuck in there. Oh boy.
And she's selecting up the points that are going to be her duration points based on what Lionel needs to be successful. He made a really nice decision there as well.
Good boy. Okay, let's go. Good boy. That was very nice.
So now she's going to come up to one of the cash registers. When we do work on a cash register, our most successful place to have our puppy be for safety is right in front of us. You can bring them there with either a collar cue or a fist target. And then you can select the cue they're going to be in. So it could be in a sit, a down, or a stand based on what's successful for your puppy. And then, of course, we're going back to that duration. So when we are at the checkout, of course, we have multiple things that could be taking our attention. We're getting things out of our backpacks. We're talking to a cashier. We're potentially loading things on. So when you are having those points, you just want to kind of keep in your mind that we still have a learner at the end of our leash. So you're just going to quietly grab that treat and feed your puppy in position. So that way they're still getting their feedback points as they're holding their cues duration. So then Amber's going to go to our...
Or not.
Or not. Same thing at our self-checkout. There just won't be a person behind because, of course, when we're out in the community, we have the chance to do either or. So to give an extra station, we're just bringing both.
And
even if you don't need to use it for personal reasons, your dogs need to practice in it. And most of us are women, and for those, when you're raising a puppy that's never been in a men's restroom, it is a different experience. So today we are commandeering both sides. We had a puppy that was raised in our group by a woman and went to a male handler, and he said the first time he took his dog in a public restroom, it was a surprise for her. So since we have the opportunity, we are going to do that. But also, when you're out and about, if you're with your club, or if you have a significant other, if you have another family member who's male and can take your puppy into the male side on occasion, that is good practice. Because it's something you don't do. I never thought about it until this happened with Roxy. So we'll do both sides, and then we'll do probably do a little bit of obedience if your dog's in any training spot. After going through all of these, before you actually go into that tight space that is in the restroom. So we evaluate tight spaces with baby puppies when they're with the razor, with the walk and talks, with the IFT assessment, and a dog being able to fit into a tight space tells us whether they have some body sensitivity. So you may see your dog when, I've seen it actually in the hand washing, we'll coach you where to put your dog for that, and I've seen a few dogs that were uncomfortable with that and backed out of it. And that just means you just need to do a little more practice. I mean, I can do a lot in my restroom at home, because it's not very big, where they have to move and shift position in a tight space. I fly pretty frequently, so, it just is the life of a service dog, like they have to figure out how to fit, and they do. So what we're going to start with is some collar cue or boring practice. Your puppies are pretty tired, so you may end up actually just pulling the food out and putting it in front of their nose. If they're not very responsive, because they're like, it's cool in here, and I'd like to take a break. But I want to practice a few of the positions that you might have to use in the stalls, because we have the deluxe stalls here. Like if you fly through St. Pete, those restrooms are old and small. So, you never know what you're going to get. And you never know the little moves you're going to have to do to make your puppy fit in there. So the first thing I want you to do is to either collar cue or use a food wheel with your puppy, and bring your puppy in front of you so their head is facing you and their tail is this way.
So their head should be right here, their butt should be away from you. Very nice. Good, and once they're in this position, go ahead and mark and feed them a couple of times. This is foreign to them if they haven't practiced this skill yet.
Then the next thing you're going to do is collar cue your puppy into heel position on your right. And the reason you need this is because the toilet paper dispenser is often on the left, and there's no room for a dog there. So it's good to practice that, and sometimes they do have to go all the way back. Now turn around. So again, you want your puppies just like you do. Good job. Good job. So your puppy will be on your right. And they should be staying on your right. And go ahead and feed your puppy a couple treats. And just be cognizant of how much space it took your puppy to make that move. We have this much room. Yes. We take lots of space, and we may not have it actually in the restroom. Okay. So the next thing is bring your puppy back in front. So they're facing you, tail out that way. And then you're either going to take a piece of food right at their nose level and step in so your puppy backs up a couple steps. Or if you know that your puppy will back up as you move into them, you can shuffle your feet a little bit
If this is new to your puppy, to sliding without stepping one of your feet in between their legs, so it kind of shifts their chest back to prompt them, can help give them a little bit of encouragement on what to do. And if your puppy, you know them right now, they might be really tired, but if they're weak on these collar cues, it's not just for puppy kindergarten. These are really good ways to move and manipulate our dogs into tight spaces. And they use them for service dog training, guide dog training, and skilled companions. So we want to make sure those skills stay sharp. So when you get home, practice those if you need them.
Because sometimes there's not room in the stall to do that pull them into heel position, and you have to back them in beside the toilet in order to shut the door. Sometimes it's just that tight.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes you have to tilt them and have them back up. And we get pretty comfortable with that. Okay, and the last thing I want you to do is collar cue your puppy to heel position on your left. Yep. And then have your puppy switch behind you to the right. So be aware, this is a commercial building. The doors that go into those restrooms are switch doors. So when we tell you to go in the restroom, you should be doing a switch at that door. Unless you decide to use the rolly bag, if you're really brave, only one person's been brave enough.
Come on, guys.
Okay.
Stand up to the challenge.
But that also is something you have to think about when you're traveling and
Yeah, if you have a suitcase, right behind you.
Right behind you. So if I've got my dog on my left and my bag on my right, and I've got a door that's left hinged and I need to do a switch, I just turn around and back up and pull it right through, because my puppy's not going to get caught. And it's just not worth trying to figure out how to manipulate all that. I mean, if you want to look really like that, you can do it, but
It's too much work.
too much work.
Yeah.
Several back pockets.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so we have odd numbers here.
Hey, switch.
And you go in.
Let's go. Wait. Body. Body switch. Oh, yes.
In front of me, like this, while I do my, and this is where some of the puppies have had trouble. They don't have to be underneath here, but they do need to be in front. If they're behind you, I had a puppy in the last one who just got the hands wet, and that puppy goes, "Hi, who are you?" So it's nice to have them kind of tucked in there.
Actually, I'd rather stand in the bathroom anyway.
Yes, of course, I love that. Yeah, I mean, and one thing I didn't mention, and that when I did my spiel, is when you are attending business, of course, you do have to adjust your clothing. And in order to do that, you should think about what you're going to do with your leash. I don't want my leash on the floor in a restroom. So do you, and the same thing could happen here. Do you put it over your arm? Do you stick the excess in your pocket?
Around your neck.
Some people have the shoulder type, like, so she's got this type of leash, so she could do the shoulder, the service dog leash, and still have hands free and actually be able to wash hands with the dog. So those are things that you do need to think about and practice, because you get in there and I'd be like, oh man, now what am I gonna do? I've got the dog, and I gotta, adjust my clothing, and what's that gonna look like?
So sorry.
I'm just trying to
So
do it
yes,
your way.
so those are all things you should think about and practice, because if you, especially if your puppy goes as a guide dog, the chances of that individual using public transportation, public restrooms and all that stuff is pretty high. Because obviously they can't drive themselves. They shouldn't be. Anyway, all right, we're gonna go.
The bathroom, what we're gonna practice, mine, thank you. So we're gonna practice having our puppy go into a switch and being on our right side. If they aren't super comfortable with tight spaces, and can I borrow her? So we're gonna practice. Yes. Hi, buddy. Tiny kibbles, I'm sorry. So we're gonna practice that switch. Yes. Very nice. And we're gonna just move them up towards us this way. You can use the fist target if they need some guidance. He immediately wanted to check out the urinal, which can happen. So I'm gonna mark and feed him. Away. Yes. For just hanging out right here. Yes. And then you can practice standing a little bit closer. And flushing. It's a very quiet flush. They're normally not like this. There's a piece of food on the ground. You're doing a very good job. And then you're going to practice backing them up so you can collar cue back. And then move back into a heel. Good job, buddy. Wow, that was great. Yes. All right.
You're gonna tell your puppy to stay and go toe to toe. Turn and go toe to toe. Take a step back. And pretend to take a photo of your puppy. Because that's an essential skill, right? Go back to your position. And tell your puppy what a good puppy they are.
What a good boy. Yeah.
Alright, next one is a down. So let's go ahead and put our puppies in a down. You're going to tell your puppy to stay, and you're going to walk around your puppy or whatever portion of that you can do. Fetal position, or just do half of it. Squirt. And you're going to tell your puppy to stay and turn and face your puppy toe to toe.
Body sit.
Ask your puppy to sit.
Body sit.
Take 2 steps back. Call your puppy to you. I'm sorry. And we're going to go back to your start, and we'll do the last one. You'll put your puppy in heel position and ask your puppy to stand.
Body, heel, stand.
You're going to turn into a vet restraint move. You should do husbandry behaviors in weird places so our puppies never know when you might do that. Your puppy's calm, then you can release them and check the ears. Now they've got the puppy. And you're going to check your puppy's teeth. You got to pick up a front foot. You're going to pick up a back foot. You're going to run your hand down your puppy's back and gently lift the tail. Good puppy. Next husband. Now Hallie's going to take over.
Yeah, we're gonna work on building some duration. So you can go ahead and put your puppy in the down position. Be mindful about where they're laying. We want them to be on our left side. Visualize, if you were visually or physically impaired, you either couldn't look down because of balance or you were visually impaired. We don't want that puppy to be in the way of your first step. So you can go ahead and cue them into that position. And I'm going to build some duration. So when I tell you to feed your dog, you can go ahead and feed your dog. All right, feed your dog.
Okay, those of you who are observing, we are going to be the wandering zombie crowd. So we're just going to walk around. If you don't have a puppy, we're just going to walk around.
Feed your dog. When I'm building duration at home, I make sure I'm not just counting in my head because our brain runs into patterns and you could be counting to 5 but really hitting the same duration every time. Feed your dog. So I put a stopwatch out so I can watch the time, or I put it on my phone or on my watch. Feed your dog.
Walkers, clap your hands 4 times.
Feed your dog.
Walkers,
Feed your dog.
walkers, put both hands up in the air and say Yahoo!
All right, let's move our puppies into a stand position.
Audie, stand.
If your dog drops down, you're not going to feed them when they get back up. You're just going to re-cue them, use your fist target, and we will go ahead and start with feed your dog.
Walkers, we're going to shuffle our feet while we walk, or maybe blend forward our feet a little bit. Zombie walk,
Feed your
true
dog.
zombie walk, true zombie walk.
Feed your dog. So we're doing a higher rate of reinforcement here, so our puppies can, we have a nice distraction. Feed your dog. We're doing a higher rate of reinforcement here because our dogs are tired, they've had a long day, stand is hard, feed your dog. But it's an essential skill because we want our dogs, think about their future. With someone with a guide dog harness, if your dog is constantly dropping down, feed your dog. Dropping down, it's going to be really frustrating, and it's a lot of work that the trainer has to build a new reinforcement history. So if your dog is waiting in a curve and your dog's partner is trying to investigate and see what's happening, and the dog drops down into a down, that's really disorienting. So building our duration with our stand is important. Feed your dog. Next, we're going to move into the sit. So cue your dog into the sit.
Walkers, stop, sit.
And this, if your dog needs to be against a wall, that's okay. Everyone's tired. Feed your dog.
Walkers, you're going to walk around, and when you get to a puppy, you're going to pretend to pick something up off the floor.
Feed your dog. Well, we don't want our dogs sitting for like hours or even long minutes at a time. This is an essential skill, and we do want our dogs comfortable with this. Feed your dog. Our goal at Festa before they come in for training is 20 seconds, but that doesn't mean we have to stop there. So we want to vary our duration. Feed your dog. And that duration right there between feeding was almost 20 seconds. So you've almost got it even in these training exercises. Feed your dog. Good, and if they slide down, try to be up against a wall to make it a little easier for them. Feed your dog. Feed your dog. And break. Very good. Give them some butt scratches. One right there. Great job. That was awesome.
Good boy.
So one thing I want to point out before y'all head out is the scariest time for students usually in their partnership with their dog is being in the airports and having to navigate that alone. So that's why we're practicing some of these skills, because this is something that they experience, those public restrooms, the airport, grocery stores. But these sort of environments are really scary for our students when they're going home. It's one of the first times that they are alone with their dog. It is a new partnership, and airports are stressful for anyone. If someone enjoys the airport, I don't know how you do it. So we want to make sure our dogs have the fluency for these behaviors before they come in for training, which means we're practicing training sessions, doing this stuff as well as practicing in real life and getting those skills really sharp and then maintaining them as they continue with their puppy raising. So really think about that, like visualize your dog being matched, and they practice all this training on campus, and then they have to fly home. And that is a new guide dog handler, potentially new service dog handler, or they're getting a successor dog. This dog is brand new to them. This is a new partnership. So it'll make it so much easier if you have these skills in their bank account, they have a reinforcement history with this, it's gonna look and feel so good for them to be like, oh yeah, my dog's got this, even if I'm a little clunky with it. So that's why we're practicing these skills, the grocery store, TSA. Those are essential skills that we're not always practicing every day. So does anyone have any questions?